Okay, welcome. My name is Mauro Zapatera. I hope you are all well. One of the things that we're going to look at today is radical acceptance, which is actually a book that Tara Brach wrote many years ago, I believe in like 2003. And radical acceptance, and I felt like that was a theme that was going around, and so when wanting to bring it up here, and going through some of the powerful quotes from that book. If you're interested in it, acceptance comes up in many different forms in meditation and mindfulness of being with the present moment, allowing the present moment. There's sort of a synonym there of allowance and acceptance. And so, when Tara wrote about it, there's some really good quotes from the book that I think are very pertinent to the practice of mindfulness and the practice of meditation, and actually allowing to transform what arises for us. So the book is called Radical Acceptance. So today, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about acceptance. The practice we're going to do is a practice that I call one moment of acceptance, one moment of full acceptance. And if it sort of stems from the fact that many people are not fully accepting this moment, that there's something about this moment that you are resisting, whatever it might be. Maybe it's the amount of money in your bank account, or your health, something in your health that isn't the way that you want it to be, or the weather, or the house that you live in, or whether your home is too cold or too warm, or whatever it is, whether you have proper food, or that there's something that either we're resistant to that is happening in the moment, or there's something that we're desiring, or there's something that we wish that was changed, that was different, right? And so anytime that we wish that the moment was different than it is, there's some form of suffering that's occurring. There's some form of resistance that's occurring. And so this is sort of this is a practice that we've done before, but it's really about one moment of full acceptance, one moment of full acceptance, and essentially, right, what it is I give you, or you give yourself the ability to take back all the resistance that you want, but just for 1 millisecond, you drop all resistance of anything that you wish to be different from the present moment. Just for 1 millisecond, you essentially rest in pure, radical acceptance that this is just the way it is, and it's absolutely perfect, and we're going to rest in that perfection. All right, but to get there, I'd like to read a few quotes, mostly from Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. And if you are interested in any of these quotes, or some of these quotes resonate with you, I do recommend the book, and kind of diving into it a little bit. Okay, so one of the first is sort of her definition of radical acceptance is the willingness to experience ourselves and our lives as it is. Our willingness to experience ourselves and our lives as it is, right? So how many times have you not wanted to experience your life as it is? How many times have you not wanted to experience the experience that you are having just as it is and wanting to change it. Right. So there's this sort of a resistance to what is. What would it be like if I could accept life, accept this moment exactly as it is? What would it be like if I could accept life, accept this moment exactly as it is? Right? What would that be like? What would that be like for you? Maybe something already comes up for you, right? Wow. What would it be like if I could fully accept, fully, right? That's why the book is titled Radical Acceptance. Radical, right? Everything fully, even the 0.001% that you're like, oh, everything but this. No, even that, even that, even that. Okay. Pain is not wrong. Reacting to pain as wrong initiates the trance of unworthiness. The moment we believe something is wrong, our world shrinks and we lose ourselves in the effort to combat the pain. Pain is not wrong. Reacting to pain as wrong initiates the trance of unworthiness. Right? Pain is actually quite intelligent. Telling you whether or not something wrong is, whether or not something dangerous may be happening. Okay. We are uncomfortable because everything in our life keeps changing. Our inner moods, our bodies, our work, the people we love, the world we live in. We can't hold on to anything. A beautiful sunset, a sweet taste, an intimate moment with a lover, our very existence as the body-mind we call self, because all things come and go. Lacking any permanent satisfaction, we continuously need another injection of fuel, stimulation, reassurance from loved ones, medicine, exercise, and meditation. We are continually driven to become something more, to experience something else. Perhaps the biggest tragedy of our lives is that freedom is possible, yet we can pass our years trapped in the same old patterns. We may want to love other people without holding back, to feel authentic, to breathe in the beauty around us, to dance and sing. Yet each day we listen to inner voices that keep our life small. How many times, just thinking to yourself, right, recollecting your own moments, how many times have you felt like, I've really wanted to express that, tell that person I really love them. And then there's a little voice that comes in and says, yeah, they probably won't care, or that's not really who I am, or I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, right? How many times have you then not expressed because of a little voice that comes in saying something, resisting the natural flow of something that's coming? The boundary to what we can accept is the boundary to our freedom. The boundary to what we can accept is the boundary to our freedom. Imperfection is not our personal problem. It is a natural part of existing. Imperfection. There's a perfection to imperfection. There's a perfection to imperfection. The emotion of fear often works overtime. Even when there is immediate threat, our body may remain tight and on guard, our mind narrowed to focus on what might be wrong. When this happens, fear is no longer functioning to secure our survival. We are caught in the trance of fear, and our moment-to-moment experience becomes bound in reactivity. We spend our time and energy defending our life rather than living it fully. And you've known in the practice of mindfulness or meditation how we have practices that we look inside, right? That we try to figure out what's going on mindfully in our bodies, with our emotions, with thoughts, We've had practices where we've followed emotions. We've had practices where we followed our thoughts. We've had practices where we followed our sensations, etc., etc. And this is where I think this quote comes from: clearly recognizing what is happening inside us and regarding what we see with an open, kind, and loving heart is what I call radical acceptance. If we are holding back from any part of our experience, if our heart shuts out any part of who we are and what we feel, we are fueling the fears and feelings of separation that sustain the trance of unworthiness. Radical acceptance directly dismantles the very foundations of this trance, right? So that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about in terms of holding back, right? Not only holding back from accepting the moment, but holding back from the way that we are expressing ourselves in the moment. And what that does to us energetically, right? We sense an opening coming, and then what do? We close it. We sense an opening coming, and then we close it. Sense an opening coming, and we close it. Sense an opening coming, and we close it. Okay. If we are holding back from any part of our experience, if our heart shuts out any part of who we are and what we feel, we are fueling the fears and feelings of separation that sustain the trance of unworthiness. Here's a good mantra. Right? May I love and accept myself just as I am. May I love and accept myself just as I am. We could all sort of repeat that to ourselves and say, yeah, I need a little bit of that medicine right now. I need a little bit of that self-love. I need a little bit of that self-acceptance, self-compassion. Right? May I love and accept myself right now just as I am. We've talked about this as well in terms of, how we treat ourselves. And reminding yourself that, from a mindfulness perspective, the definition of mindfulness is paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. Right? Paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. That without judgment part, we've actually gone into that, right? We've looked at the judge, we've looked at the self-critic, we've looked at various practices of bringing in that self-critic, bringing in that voice, right? Hello, self-critic, even naming it, right? Bringing it to the party, having it be present with us. And yet, right, treating ourselves kindly, compassionately, with love, right? We've done practices such as metta meditation, right? Loving kindness, where the first intention is loving kindness to ourselves. We send loving kindness to ourselves. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be at peace. Right? That there's this kindness to ourselves, that we treat ourselves. Oftentimes we're very harsh to ourselves. We're often at times are the biggest critic, right? We're putting ourselves down, that inner voice that comes in. Critic, hello. Name it. The revolutionary act of treating ourselves tenderly can begin to undo the aversive messages of a lifetime. She calls it tenderly. The revolutionary act, right? It's kind of sad that treating ourselves tenderly is a revolutionary act. It's kind of sad, right? That should be like our birthright, for each other and between ourselves within our community, right? That we treat each other tenderly, right? When you go off and go into the afternoon, right? Think about treating yourself tenderly. And what does that mean? How would you treat yourself tenderly? What would you do different than your normal routine that adds an element of tenderness, of love, of kindness, of self compassion? What would that look like for yourself and then for your your family, your loved ones, your community? I'm going to go out, and I'm going to approach my day with tenderness. It's such a beautiful word, isn't it? Tenderly. Um, just sort of thinking about that, right? For yourself. This is another one. We've looked at cravings before. We've looked at urges, right? Even the urge to move, the urge to, we've talked about the urge to, scratch an itch, for instance, and how quickly we notice the urge and then we go to move and we don't even recognize that there's actually a space in there that we can, there's a reaction to the urge. And this is her quote, if we are taken over by craving, no matter who or what is before us, all we can see is how it might satisfy our needs. This kind of thirst contracts our body and mind into a profound trance. We move through the world with a kind of tunnel vision that prevents us from enjoying what is in front of us. The color of an autumn leaves or a passage of poetry merely amplifies the feeling that there is a gaping hole in our life. The smile of a child only reminds us that we are painfully childless. We turn away from simple pleasures because our craving compels us to seek more intense stimulation or numbing relief. That's a big one, right? We seek more intense stimulation or numbing relief. Intense stimulation or numbing relief. Right? Part of the radical acceptance, kind of what was mentioned before, right, is almost relaxing into the moment. So it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be hooked up to an IV. I don't want to be getting antibiotics. But you know what? That's what's happening right now. And I'm going to be with it. Right. A few more, and then we'll go into our one moment of acceptance practice. There is something wonderfully bold and liberating about saying yes to our entire imperfect and messy life. Here's another one. Nothing is wrong. Whatever is happening is just real life. The only way to live is by accepting each minute as an unrepeatable miracle. I like this one. On this sacred path of radical acceptance, rather than striving for perfection, we discover how to love ourselves into wholeness. On this sacred path of radical acceptance, rather than striving for perfection, we discover how to love ourselves into wholeness. Learning to pause is the first step in the practice of radical acceptance. A pause is a suspension of activity, a time of temporary disengagement when we are no longer moving toward a goal. The pause can occur in the midst of almost any activity and can last for an instant, for hours, or for seasons, for our life. We may pause in the midst of meditation to let go of thoughts and reawaken our attention to the breath. We may pause by stepping out of daily life to go on a retreat or to spend time in nature or to take a sabbatical. You might try it now. Stop doing what you're doing, sit there, do nothing. Simply notice what you're experiencing. That's the pause, right? We've discussed the 3 Ps: pause, present, and proceed, right? Setting these things up in your life, like I'm grabbing for my phone, let me pause. It's just taking that sliver of a moment to redirecting your attention to the present moment. This is why we talk about attention so much. I've never called it love, but this is what she says. Attention is the most basic form of love. By paying attention, we let ourselves be touched by life, and our hearts naturally become more open and engaged. What's important about that is that you learn how to pay attention, right? Because oftentimes our attention is grabbed by things in the external world, and we can choose to pay attention. Actually choose to pay attention. And there is a competition out there to grab your attention and to hold on to it. There is a competition out there to grab your attention and hold on to it. So where are you choosing to place your attention? And is that the best? Is where you are placing your attention the best for your evolution? And this is a moment-to-moment question that you're asking yourself every single moment. Where's my attention going right now? Where's my attention going? Oh, there's a sexy billboard on the side of the street. Well, that's where your attention is going. That's where your energy is flowing to. Right? There's another billboard of a lawyer who deals in personal car accidents or personal injury. You're like, gee, how many billboards could there be? You're looking at one billboard, another billboard, another billboard. Another, right? What are all those trying to do? Grabbing your attention. I live in Los Angeles, right? So casinos and resorts and this, right? And where am I choosing to put, right? Everybody's trying to grab your attention. Facebook is trying to grab your attention. Instagram is trying to grab your attention. The news is trying to grab your attention, right? The clickbait is trying to grab your attention. You choose. You choose. And so asking yourself, right, where your attention is going, is that where you actually want your attention to go for the expansion of your being, for going to wholeness, as opposed to going to separation or fear or imperfection, right? Or fear of imperfection. Okay, so let's go into our practice. The practice is going to be 1 moment of acceptance. This is 1 moment of acceptance. You can live the entire rest of your life without accepting it. Just do 1 moment. That's it. If you want to take back all the resistance and all the worries, you can take them back. Okay. But what this practice is essentially for a split second, not even a second, a millisecond, right? A millisecond. 1/1000th of a second. 1/1000th of a second. All right? That's my homework. For 1/1000th of a second, fully accept the moment. Okay. Okay, so let's find a comfortable posture. A posture you feel relaxed yet alert. closing your eyes if you feel comfortable closing your eyes. If not, having a soft downward gaze, as if you're looking off on the horizon. Watching a setting sun over the ocean. And taking 2 or 3 deep breaths. And with each inhale, bringing in fresh oxygen to your whole body. And with each exhale, seeing if you can relax your body ever so slightly more. Allowing your body to be supported by whatever surface it's on. You might notice yourself shifting a little bit in your seat or couch or on your bed, wherever you are. And then breathing regularly at whatever pace or rhythm works best for you. And bringing your attention to your resource, your anchor. A place that you can direct your attention to that you feel safer. And as your mind wanders, recognizing that that is the working of the mind. As soon as you notice your mind has wandered, coming back to your anchor or resource with kindness, self-compassion, love, tenderness. And from your place of resource, from your place of anchoring, seeing if you can practice one moment of total, radical acceptance. For 1 millisecond, just 1 millisecond, accepting this moment exactly as it is. Just for 1 millisecond. And from Tara Brach, radical acceptance is the willingness to experience ourselves and our lives as it is. Can we do that for just 1 millisecond? And see what you notice. If you're finding it challenging, you may bring in a short, intentional phrase such as, "May I love and accept myself just as I am." May I love and accept myself just as I am. May I love and accept this moment exactly as it is. Even if at this time it may be challenging to sustain radical acceptance, can we do it for just 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds, extending it to an entire second? Loving and accepting yourself and this moment just as it is. As you practice 1 moment of acceptance, notice what arises in your body, mind, and spirit. You may even notice what arises of your first impulse of resistance to the moment, and being curious of that as well, with a tenderness, a gentleness, a self-love and compassion. May I love and accept myself just as I am. May I love and accept this moment just as it is, right now. Each moment, moment by moment, can we fully accept this moment just as it is, noticing where our attention is going. If anything is resisting this moment, notice that as well, with curiosity, openness, love, kindness, tenderness. Can you fully be in this moment? Accepting yourself just as you are. And as we bring this meditation to a close today, as you go through your day, just seeing how you can incorporate one moment of acceptance throughout your day. Just one moment, over and over and over again. And with that, opening our eyes if our eyes were closed, taking 2 or 3 deep breaths, feeling our feet on the floor, our hands in our lap, our thighs against the chair, stretching or moving if you need to stretch, and just taking a moment to reflect on your practice today.